Thank you. Recording in progress. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Another episode of Hoya Locker Room, episode 86. This is our Hoya coaches episode. We have an illustrious tandem today. We have Mr. Mark Tillmon, class of 1990, currently the assistant coach at Carroll High School girls basketball. And then Mr. Horace Broadnax, class of 86, and currently the coach at Savannah State. I want to welcome you gentlemen both to the program, welcome you back to the program. And I think this is a timely episode given what's going on in our university and our alma mater. But first and foremost, obviously we want to celebrate you guys and currently what you're doing. You both had banner years this year. But before we jump into that, I'll introduce the guy in the hockey jersey, Mr. Markham Stansbury Jr.
Hey, man. Happy to see you both. Horace, I see that the gear you got on, man. I'm going to send you my address because I need to have some Savannah State gear.
I need to send you a donation letter. Hey, we Division II, baby. Division II.
That's a good one there.
Matter of fact, I'm working on it right now.
Nice.
So you got any other jokes, Markham, or can we start? Good?
we are starting.
Okay, you finished begging? We good now? We go?
Yeah,
all right.
Finished begging.
We're going to start with the silver fox over there because, not a lot of us know that Mark is currently coaching at Carroll. He's an assistant coach. His daughter's a senior there. She's a combo guard. She had an incredible senior year. Carroll won the DCSAA. Is that correct, Till?
Yes, Class A, yes.
So they won the championship this year. And, again, the word on the street is Mark is an incredible coach and his daughter really can ball. So, Mark, if you can speak to how that process took place, how did you get involved? Obviously, we know you wanted to, cultivate that seed that you were growing, but if you could share with us your entree into coaching and what this meant to you.
Well, Till, before you do that, because this is episode 86, and you've been here before, Horace has been here before, but somebody might just be tuning in for the first time. So do what we always do and let them know how you ended up at Georgetown.
How I ended up at Georgetown. Well, I just give it this way. I had, you get 5 visits to
right.
Official visits, I should say. And I only had 5 schools that I wanted to attend. You've heard this story before. First school was North Carolina. Second school was North Carolina. Third school was North Carolina. And the fourth school was North Carolina. Obviously, the last school was Georgetown, but those were the 2 top schools that were on my radar. And I just like to say that, I come from a very athletic family, from a football family. And, my father was a professional football player with the Jets and the Saints. And I just remember him asking the late Dean Smith and Roy Williams what was the graduation percentage of his Black athletes as a whole. And I don't remember what the numbers were at the time, but I know they weren't great. So then he went on to ask, what was the graduation percentage of your athletes as a whole? And I saw the ball quickly rolling down the hill. And I said, hey, Dad, I said, Carolina, you're going to be sending a lot of those guys to the pros. And that's probably why the graduation percentage is not the number that you're looking for. First thing he said was, looked at me with a stern look and said, I don't give a damn about no pro. Georgetown, here I come. That's how I ended up at Georgetown. But those are the 2 top schools anyway. So I couldn't have gone wrong with either one. If I had a chance to do it all over again, I would have done it again. Chose Georgetown.
So how did you get into this coaching thing?
No, but before he jumps into coaching, we might as well get it out of the way with Horace. These dudes have been on the show 100 times, but again, for those, to your point, I'm not real good, fellas, at cultivating a following, right? Like I'm not, like I'm not checking the likes on the episode. Like I'm really passionate about the content. I'm really passionate about the program, obviously, and the individuals that take the time to come through. So Markham has always been pretty cool with checking me on that, and I appreciate him for checking that box. So with that being said, Horace, your journey from Plant City to the hilltop.
Oh man, it was kind of crazy in a sense, kind of almost like Mark to a certain degree, man. South Florida was in my backyard, and basically I felt that I was going to South Florida. Felt comfortable. It's in Tampa, and that's where I was gonna be because I was a country boy, hometown boy. That's where I wanted to stay. But unfortunately, or fortunately, we got hot in the playoffs. Won the 4A state championship, and I was the highest one at that particular time. I got named Florida Player of the Year, and then watched Georgetown lose to Michael Jordan on TV, so that everybody was in love with Georgetown and Coach Thompson. With the Fred Brown hugging Fred Brown on TV, and just got a last minute invitation to come to Georgetown. As years passed, I kind of figured out that hey, Johnny Dawkins was supposed to be my spot, so. I guess that fell through, and they took a chance on Horace Broadnax. So it was kind of hard to turn down Georgetown at that particular time, but it was a hell of a decision because it got me outside of my comfort zone, got me outside of being a country boy, and just got me in the world of basketball. So glad to be here. Glad to have opportunity to play with you, my man Gene. Had some good times, some fun, a lot of laughs. Sure. So. That was it in a nutshell. So I got lucky. I got hot at the last minute. I was going to go to University of Florida once I got hot. But like Mark was saying, my dad kind of intervened too. He just didn't like the Norm Sloan. He didn't like the feel of Norm Sloan at that particular time. And it was a great opportunity to play for Coach Thompson. And, sometimes playing with a black coach, a black man, is good for a young black man. And I think it was good for me to play for Coach Thompson because, I understood him. He kind of lined up with my father. So it was rough, but I was able to get through.
I did not know the Johnny Dawkins part of that.
Well, Horace, Johnny Dawkins from my neighborhood too.
Yeah. I think they were recruiting him and something broke down in the recruitment. And, I played with Johnny, I forget, it was an all-star game. And, I was thinking, I said, damn, you right in the backyard. And Coach Thompson was doing a great job of recruiting local guys back then. That would have been amazing if Johnny Dawkins was part of the Georgetown family.
I wonder if he would have gotten Johnny Dawkins, would he have taken Michael Jackson?
Yeah, that's I don't know if because they were more similar. You a different kind of dude, Horace. So
I mean, Johnny played off the ball. I mean, I don't know if he
did. Yeah, because actually when he was in high school, he played off the ball really because Dominic Presley played on the ball. So yeah. That's true.
But Johnny wasn't that dog defensively. That
he could score though.
He could score, yeah. But to Till's point, how would that have been with Michael Jackson, who could, Michael Jackson was more of a scorer, but he became a great defensive player, I think, because of playing in that Georgetown tradition. That helps.
Don't say playing with you, dog. We know how it happened.
Okay.
Shadow over here be humble. Oh, Michael.
Always the guy with the hockey jersey. I'm telling you. It's always the guy with the hockey jersey. I'm telling you. So again, we appreciate you sharing your stories. I do think it's very interesting that both of you touched on your father being a part of that recruiting process and the association, obviously the natural association with Big John. I think that's very, very interesting. And I was single parent, this is my mom's, and it was obviously a natural for me to gravitate towards that strong black figure. But I never thought of Big John as a father replacement. And he made it clear to let us know he wasn't that wasn't his role. So yeah, I found that very
Myths out there.
Well, before we go any further, hey, Horace, did you ever visit Georgetown?
Yeah, I visit.
Yeah.
I talked with you and Eric Smith. You remember? I think me, Eugene was watching. I forget what game he was watching. Probably watching NBA championship with the Warriors or whatever. And I was talking to Eric Smith, and I was saying, Eric don't remember. Gene necessarily don't remember the cabaret. You remember the cabaret? You
Yes.
have cabaret.
I remember that.
Yes. So that was part of my visit. I came there with the cabaret, and Coach Thompson was there. I think Gene, Eric, Smith, Floyd.
Coach Thompson came to the cabaret. Wow.
Yeah, for a hot second at the beginning. And I'm sitting around the table, you know, I'm looking at these dudes. I'm like, damn, I ain't coming here, man. Because they were all, you know, I'm a laid back, quiet dude, but you know, I like to do my thing too sometimes. So them guys are all looking around and, you know, like I say, damn. So Coach Thompson said, well, hey, son, I'll see you in the morning, breakfast, blah, blah, blah. He walked out the door. About a couple of minutes later, hey man, give me 3 bottles of champagne. And it was off the chain. And every year, I made it a point to attend the cabaret. Cabaret was my highlight every year at Georgetown University. I had fun, man. It was unbelievable.
So when you visit, I know we supposed to be letting them ask the question, but I just got to know from you. So when you visit, did you attend the practice session or you just attended the on-campus activities?
Man, I just did the classroom. I hung out with Patrick. I did that particular thing. I didn't know Coach Thompson philosophy in practice. I didn't know that he spoke a second language. You know, until I got on campus and, you know, was slowly, you know, jogging up the flow.
See, that's kind of where I'm going. I'm curious.
But you knew all of that before.
No, I did not. I didn't visit Georgetown. I kind of grew up in their house. So I saw a different Coach Thompson.
Oh, wow.
So
I thought he was always like that.
No, not at home he was not like that. So when I got on campus, I said, this is crazy. I saw a totally different person. I mean, I was used to it because of my dad, but I didn't expect what I got. You know, like
so I want to stay there. I want to stay there. We
gonna get back to what we're here for, but
yeah, we gonna get back to
it's an interesting lane.
We gonna get back to why you got into coaching and all that. But once you got on campus and you saw what you saw, how long did it take for you to say, well, I made the right decision or I made the wrong decision?
Well, I remember this like it was yesterday. So he was cursing somebody out. And I'm like, God, I've never heard it. I didn't even know he could talk like that, really. So, and you know, he's loud. He's never loud at home. You know, home and the gym and coach is 2 different atmospheres. So when he was cursing somebody out, and I'm looking around like, man, who we talking to? So when we finally locked eyes, he said, motherfucker, I'm talking to you. And I said, oh, shit. So I guess at that point, it was, like I said, I was kind of used to that kind of being screamed at and hollered at. But relentless, no. And I realized then what I was up against. You know, I really realized what I was up against at that point. So it didn't really bother me as much. I mean, Markham likes to talk about the years that we was in school together. I laughed at everything.
So wait a minute, that's what I'm about to ask. I knew everything you just said except the part about you didn't see that side of him. No. So now my question is, when you, like the story you just described, you're like, damn, like I didn't know it was like that. So I don't think that first time for sure you weren't giggling. From the time I was there, every time this dude got on somebody, this dude would start cracking up laughing.
Hey man, but listen, we all
everybody else in practice was like, oh my God, let me Tillmon over there.
I would say I think people, Coach Thompson to me was funny. And
Yeah.
I would agree that I would like to believe that Gene and Horace, and even yourself at times, wanted to laugh. If you didn't laugh, you were holding in a sticker, but you was laughing on the inside. I was just one of those people that would laugh out loud.
Now,
We would get
I
in the
don't
locker room.
have the memory that both of you guys have, and I think that lends to being a good coach, having memory like that. Sure. But what I do remember about Horace specifically is you could not tell when Horace was laughing, right? And I think Horace, much like Till, was laughing a lot because I could see the little.
I thought Coach Thompson was funny as hell when he wasn't cussing me out.
But again, I only had 2 years with you, Horace. I think that the direct cursing out got less as you got older.
Oh, you just ain't paying no mind.
And I think he kind of picked up on that energy. So I think that those first 2 years are the worst. But again, and I say this is not humble pie, Markham, but I say this. I wasn't on these two gentlemen's level in terms of talent. So my cursing out was much less. Because again, he was hardest on those that he expected the most from. So for me, it wasn't until maybe, later on, he started with some calling me sweet genie, like you think you do everything perfect. So, but staying in that lane, how did that impact or affect you or factor into the way you both do your jobs, coaching? Like his imprint, good and bad, for what it's worth. We'll start with Juice.
I mean, I do some of the same things that he does in practice. I mean, he used to crack jokes on you, stuff like that. I try to make it loose. Then I try to be serious with the kids too. Gene, I always stick you every time I come on this show. You talk about something being funny. I remember it like it was yesterday too, Mark. Gene came down the court and he took a jump shot, a deep ass jump shot. I mean, we ain't had no 3-point lines back in the day. I don't know. And I'm saying to myself, damn, what's wrong with G? He took and before I could complete that thought, Mark, Coach Thompson blew that whistle. Oh, hell no, son. We can't win with you taking no fucking jump shots. No, motherfucker, you trying to get me fired. And Coach was serious. He was serious as hell. And man, those was one of those times, man, I just wanted to walk out the gym and laugh. And Coach Thompson was serious. I said, damn, this man is serious. I don't know what made Gene take a deep ass three. I'm saying to myself, shit, that's out of character there.
Gene, do you remember that, man?
Hell no, I don't remember.
Hey man, Coach Thompson blew that whistle. Oh, hell no, motherfucker. No, but I use that sometimes with kids. If they outside, I said, nah, bro, nah, man, that ain't your role, okay? And I think early on I tried to be like Coach Thompson. I try to bring his energy because you gotta win. I don't think we could have won at Georgetown if we didn't have energy. So we always talk about energy, and I try to bring it a little bit different. I tell my kids that I'm an incredible Hulk, and that's bad. Because the Incredible Hulk brings energy, but the only way he could bring energy if he's angry as hell. Right. And that's what Coach Thompson was. He coached like angry as hell, and he brought a lot of energy. So I'm trying to shift away from, in these days and times, we definitely got to shift away from that.
That's where I was going to interject. With the kids today, that Hulk thing ain't going. That anger thing doesn't work.
No. I say the Hulk still is there. I'm trying to get rid of him, but at the end of the day, man, you got to play with energy, and I think that's one thing Coach liked about you, Gene. You play with a lot of energy and you play with tenacity on the defensive end, and if you could do that, you can always stay in a game. And if you got talent like Mark Tillmon, You could really win a lot of basketball games when you got individuals doing it on both ends of the court. So it's energy, man, and that's one thing that I understood about Coach Thompson and didn't really realize about Coach Thompson when I got into coaching, how much energy you need to bring to the table every day, every play, if you want to be high level. Now, if you want to be average, you show up, half the time. But his detailed 3-hour practices and not relenting. I'm saying this dude wouldn't take a goddamn play off in practice. I mean, if he saw you doing something wrong, he was going to blow up on you. And that's why we were good. I think, if we didn't have that energy, I think we'll be above average teams. But the fact that we play with a lot of energy, and that's what I try to get my guys to play with, energy. I'd rather look for energy guys and try to train them as opposed to guys that's skilled and low energy.
I just got to say, I'm glad to hear you talk about energy as a guy who made the Gatorade that provided some energy. So I appreciate that.
Hey, Till, staying in that the energy zone. Obviously, coaching girls is different than coaching boys. But again, the talent level coming on the girl side now. I mean, I see girls that are better than the dudes at the age group. How can you relate to that? How do you transition or translate that? How does that translate?
I was blessed to have great coaching all my life. And I realized even for my own daughter, and I apologize to her for not having great coaching. But that's just the world we live in today. And like Horace talked about coaching hard and coaching with a lot of energy, I find myself coaching the same way. Even though it's girls, certain things you wouldn't say to a girl, but you still coach them hard. And girls can be a little bit more emotional. They got other things going on in their lives physically, with the cycles and all that kind of stuff. So you got to be aware of those, situations sometimes. And I think for me, I'm hard on my girls. I'm really hard. If you interview any one of those girls, they'll tell you, Coach Tillmon don't play. I always tell them, TMI, don't come to me with all that. I don't want to hear that. If you can't practice, sit down. If you can, go use the bathroom and come back. I don't want to hear all that. So, and I tell them the minute that if you can't practice, you can't play. But I think for me, dealing with young ladies, girls don't have the athleticism as men do, but they are athletic. So that was a little bit different for me. I had to distinguish the two. So I can tell from a woman if she was athletic and if she was not. Like, my daughter's an athlete. She's not athletic as I was from a girl's perspective, but she's very skilled. And she does things on the floor that sometimes amazes me. I'm like hanging in the air or fade away hanging in there. I'm like, she never practiced that. But then you start to see some athleticism in the women's game. But, I coach them the same way that I would holler at a young man. It was hard for them, but I told them the truth. But the most important thing that I would do, whether it was a male or female, but we're talking about me now with females, is if I break a player down, a female, one of my players down, I'm going to build them back up. I'm going to put my arm around that kid. We're going to talk, have conversations about, what's going on in the classroom, what's going on in your personal life, what's going on at home. Us playing for Coach Thompson, we never got that. And you talked about, do we take some of what Coach Thompson, some of the things that he did and some of the things that he didn't do? He never built nobody back up. In my 4 years, I was there. I don't know about you guys. I doubt it very seriously. But I've never seen him build nobody up, ever. And I didn't have a problem with it, but I thought it was a problem. So I never really wanted to get in coaching, but when I got into coaching, I said, that's the number one thing that I would never do, is tear somebody down and never build them back up. Because my favorite story to this day, and I'm sure he's been on the show, and maybe we've talked about it, not is Bobby Winston. And he told Bobby, pretty much stop shooting that jump shot. He tore Bobby down, but never build him back up. And Bobby still talks about that to this day, which is funny to me. But he still talks about it to this day. But it affected him because he didn't he didn't get that love from coach saying, that's not your range, maybe get to your range, whatever you could have said as a coach at the time. But, you know, when you're saying, man, don't be shooting them balls, fucking up my baskets and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's, that's crazy. You know, that's crazy. But
bucking up my rim, son.
yeah, exactly, all that. So, but
well, he didn't, and Till, he didn't say, well, you trying to get me fucking fired, you know.
I'm sure we've heard that before too. You get me fired stuff, but it's just a building back up for me as a coach, and I just think that's so much important because yes, kids care about the basketball, but some of these kids are crying to talk to you about what's going on at home.
Yeah,
and if you don't really know what's going on at home, how can you help these kids? Because at the end of the day, we are teachers, and we're preparing them for the real world using this game.
So for both of you, what is the why for you to get into coaching?
Horace is
a lawyer, like.
No, I think it's just like what Mark was talking about. What Georgetown I thought had to offer outside of just basketball. You know, I think we were just so much consumed with, you know, Coach Thompson and winning. And I mean, I had a good off the court life, but just really diving deep into what Georgetown meant. It sits in the seat of the one of the most powerful cities in the world, and that's one of the reasons I kind of like got into coaching. Not necessarily because of Georgetown, but even at Savannah State, I try to express to these kids that there's so many resources on this campus that can make you successful if you engage in these resources, whether it's networking with your colleagues outside of basketball, your professors, the president, the alumni. There's so much resources that, you know, we just didn't have an opportunity. I don't know if we had time, you know, because we were so immersed into doing what Coach Thompson wanted us to do and just putting a lot of energy into that level. So, yeah, I want to win basketball games, want to go hard, but want to try to expose these kids to a lot of different things. Like this year, trying to expose our guys to being social media influencers where they can go out and make money, you know, name, likeness, and image. Probably not like the big Power Fives, but if they could work on, you know, developing a YouTube where they could get 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours, then they could start getting paid and doing it the hard way and the right way. So when they walk out of here, they might have something available. So just getting in the coaching here because I enjoy it, but at the same time, I want to try to give these guys a different perspective that I didn't get from a player, kind of like Mark saying, building the players up. Just kind of like saying, hey, man, here's some opportunities that you could exploit as a Georgetown student, as opposed to just saying, hey, Georgetown is a great education. And what does that mean? Give me some specific directions and stuff.
Whoever the next coach is, I hope they really do what you just said, because that's a huge thing that I think has not necessarily been capitalized on throughout the years, and we'll be better off to do that.
Yeah, I think the former players, current players, specifically the former players, we are assets to the university, and we are resources that could help the program and also help the institution. We just don't know how to use it right or cultivate it right. I guess you need that leadership from that particular guy.
So staying on that, because obviously I want to get both of your opinions or your point of views on where we currently sit as a program in terms of what that next coach can look like or should look like, without getting into names. Like, I'm not interested in who people think should get the job, but whether the challenges, whether some of the characteristics that person should have or may have, or we would look for. But before we get into that, what do you think, if any, role or responsibility that we have as former players, positioning ourselves for whomever the next coach is? How should we move? Because I do think it's important. I don't think it's important to to ask for a jersey. I think it's important to say, okay, this is the foundation, and we are all well aware of the challenges of the game today. And to Horace's point, I think we're assets. If you both can speak to that, I would be interested.
Well, you're right. We're definitely assets to universities. It's going to be up to that coach, whoever that coach is, to want to involve former players at the end of the day. He can come in and choose not to want to be involved with former players because we are of the Thompson regime. Sometimes that carries a negative light, and sometimes it might carry a positive light. So it just depends on that particular coach of how they want us to be ambassadors to the program. I don't know. I have mixed emotions about how that will play out and how that will work. Because you always hear people saying you don't want people from the Thompson regime. Most of his best players that ever built this, the best players that built this program come from the Thompson regime. They know the university better than anybody. But I just don't know how that would look. People always say you should go with somebody with experience. Is that necessarily the best case scenario? There are a lot of qualified coaches out here that are assistants that just need the opportunity. Mm-hmm. That are younger, that are hungry, that will go the extra mile. There's someone who does have experience. But I'm not in that position to make those kind of decisions. I just hope that whoever they brings in will embrace former players. And hopefully we can have somebody here that can, change the program around.
Juice?
I think it's tough, man. A lot of people look at Georgetown and they say, hey, man, this is a great opportunity. But, if you compare it to some of these Power 5 programs and, I think some of the programs in the Big East are going to get left behind because of this new legislation with the name, image, and likeness. Because when a player could get $5,000 a month, they're not going to stick around. I mean, that's $60,000, but a lot of people say that ain't a lot of money. That's a lot of money for college, for a college kid. And, the average name, image, and likeness in the Power 5 is running around $6,000 a month. So if Georgetown can't provide that, or Georgetown can't bring somebody in who understands that landscape and know how to connect, with the former players, the former alumni, to elevate the program, I think they got a decision between they need to bring somebody in who know how to fucking really coach, just flat out coach and just ignore every fucking thing, know how to coach and recruit and get it done, or, someone who could really bring some, the social media type stuff, the 21st century type, because the kids are different, I don't know if I was talking to you, Mark, I might have mentioned it to you, like Johnny Dawkins had 9 players leave this program to go to Power 5 program because they got paid. I don't know how much money they got paid. They got paid more than what they were making at Central Florida. So my understanding at Georgetown, none of the kids get name, likeness, image deals. So if someone comes in and say, hey, I want you, guess where they're going at? I think I made a mention, it was a kid on Creighton, got a $500,000 deal. He was at South Dakota State. So he left. So that's what we're dealing with. I mean, a guy got to be able to come in here and coach and recruit. Now, if he could coach and recruit, but the part of recruiting is going to be, hey, I had a player last year, one of my best players came to me and said, hey, coach, man, what about a name, image, and likeness? And I almost did a John Thompson on him. I said, motherfucker, we Division II. So I'm saying, but you get my drift. A guy on the Division II level is asking for a name, image, and likeness deal. So I mean,
here's the funny thing about that the player asked you that. First of all, do you know where you are?
Yeah.
You forgot where you are to be asking for that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about the money.
So I mean, that's why I'm trying to do it a little bit differently on the HBCU level, is try to teach. I was just looking at some of the stuff that y'all do, Gene, and just YouTube, and obviously if you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours within the last 12 months, you could monetize this channel. So, and that's basically what I'm trying to coordinate with some people to help these guys, how they could monetize, how they could create content, how they could drive numbers and stuff. I mean, that's not who I am, but if I'm gonna continue trying to coach and trying to be successful at this level, I got to try to separate myself from everybody else so to make the program better. So, you know, when we hire somebody else, that person, I think a lot of people know X's and O's. I think Patrick probably knew X's and O's, but I think, hey, you got to be able to get players and keep players. And I don't think over his 6-year period he was able to keep players. I think the kid that won the dunk contest, he was on the verge. That's why I heard one of the reasons he's left, because he wanted to promote his brand, and you know, there was some conflict with promoting his brand. So you got to let kids promote their brand and still try to play basketball at the same time. So I mean, it's a different world. You know, I don't know how Coach Thompson would have navigated in this environment, but that's the next coach. You got to be able to love on the kids, build them up. You know, hey, produce them $10,000 a month and name, image, and likeness deals, because it's out there. I mean, kids want to know. They say, hey, if I can't get it, then who's willing to pay me, and I'm gonna leave. So
Mark, I want to direct this towards you because you do stuff at the university. You're on the board of governors. You have the Georgetown men's basketball alumni group. Do you think there's a role, or is there a step that should be made or can be made once we find out who that next person is, or is that within the realm of what you guys are thinking about?
Well, I think it goes to what Mark said. You know, it depends on the coach and how he wants to involve the alumni. I think it would be exceptionally smart of whoever the coach is to involve the alumni, because as Horace and Mark said, we're assets, and we have not been effectively integrated into the program to this point. That's what I would say about that. And we have guys that are willing and want to be involved, and that just hasn't happened.
So I'll speak to that directly, and then we can jump into something else. So one of my side hustles is consulting in this brand space. So Horace, I want to offer to you with my partner. We'd love to talk to your crew. I don't know if you've done exit interviews, but we'd love to talk to your crew about the whole NIL world. We have commandments, brand commandments that they can follow. And congratulations to Kenneth Blakeney and Howard University. But we spoke to his team earlier in the year. We've also spoken to Ohio University football team, and they actually had a really good year just about this space. And because what I want to highlight on is, as former players who did not have name, image, and likeness, we feel a certain kind of way about it. But in terms of the opportunities, in terms of the advantages and the disadvantages, which are very, very limited because you have an opportunity. But one of the disadvantages for these kids, they don't know how to turn it on. I gave an example to, it was an offline conversation, but I gave an example to someone, two of our players that I'll speak openly about, because again, you wear the blue and gray, your family, it may be a tough conversation, but it's coming from love. So you have Jordan Riley posting a video of himself working out, right? Getting ready. We don't know what he's getting ready for, but the season's over, but he's doing a workout video. Then you have another gentleman who's posting a video, and he's just 10 photos of him wearing denim. with some music in the background. Versus this gentleman who happens to have been like had the ninth most minutes in the NCAA, right? Him posting something along those lines, because that's how you attract brands. That's how you attract sponsors. That's how you begin the conversations. But these players don't understand that. So I want to offer that up to you and your crew. We can talk about it offline, obviously. And the same thing
No,
for
I
you,
mean,
Till.
that's good, Gene, because we try to meet every Thursday between 3:30, 4:30 with a guy named Chris Corinthian. We talk about financial literacy.
Yeah.
We talk about all that good little stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we could probably schedule, I don't know if that meets with your schedule. That'll
Yeah.
be around,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, maybe we could do that. You know, I don't know. I'll get with, because I'm trying to learn that crap too myself,
Yeah.
man. You know,
So we'll
I'm
definitely.
trying to jump.
I'll send you the deck. Till, I think you have the deck.
Send it to me anyway.
Yeah, but I'll send it to you anyway. And yeah, because again, this is something obviously I would love to do with our alma mater. But I guess what I was addressing, Markham, is I get, and to Mark as well, I get that it's up to the next coach, but I also think it kind of falls on us to alert to take that step forward because one thing I learned from Big John, shit, if you don't ask, you don't know, and sometimes the game don't start till somebody says no.
Well, you know my saying, my motto for that.
Oh yeah. Till got the best
Man,
saying.
go ahead, man. What is it?
What's the saying, Till?
No way, never kill nobody unless you get robbed.
So I kind of feel like, not the
Like
onus, but if it's a new guy coming in, and clearly it's going to be a new guy with some type of, bandwidth, so whether we do it collectively, whether it's one individual, but it needs to be like, Rome wasn't built in a day and it wasn't torn down in a day. It took 6 seasons, right? But here we are, but we still have a foundation to stand on. So yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. So I do think there's a step for us to make, and again, that step may be rebuked or backed off or whatever. But I just think the program is too rich for anyone not to microphone check it. Mark?
Well, getting back to the coaching thing, I'm curious from both of you guys if there's any difference in the way you play versus the way you coach. And I know, tell me before you start, I heard you talking about your daughter being more, very skilled. I'm guessing that she can handle the ball a little bit better than you did. But
here's the thing. I believe that the head coach that I currently coach with, she's a friend of mine. She grew up in my neighborhood, and I thank her for the opportunity. This is my 2nd year with her. And the first year that I came on with her, I said, I was going to sit here and learn. I've never coached before, never wanted to coach, first of all. But I'm going to sit here and learn, and I'm going to try to enhance what she does. Now, I've seen from afar what she was doing. When my daughter was a freshman, she lost her 10th grade year because of COVID. And I was blessed to have the opportunity to coach her junior and senior year. But from what I came into the door with this particular year is that we were going to change the offense. And the reason why, for me, not no other coaches, just for me and what I observed is that in order for you to be successful as a coach, from where I was, is that you have to make sure that the players are successful too. And by that, what I mean is that you have to put them in a situation that's conducive to their skill sets. You can't run certain offenses if their skill sets doesn't dictate that. So we had to, we had girls that think they can dribble with the left hand and can't dribble with the left hand. So we had to camouflage and run the offense from the left, bring it back to the right, or start on the right, get it back onto the left, bring it back to the right. So it's things that you have to do to make your players comfortable until they develop the skill set to do certain things, but your offense have to dictate that. And she accepted it. And I think that was the biggest key to our success this year. Winning the states, and not only that, the girls worked hard. But for me, that was, in terms of you saying, in terms of the way I play, do I coach that way? Everybody's have a different skill set, so, and you just have to put that together in order for your team to come together to be a successful team. So with us, it was definitely changing our offense. And that could be every year. That could be every year. And I'm not saying change it completely, but you have to throw wrinkles in every so often, depending on that particular player. If they develop their skill, yes, they develop their skill set. I mean, Horace is a veteran at this. He's been doing this for years now. I'm learning on the job.
Wait, Mark, I'm still learning too, man. Every year, man, like at the end of the year, man, you try to reassess some of the things that you did during the year to see if you could get better. You know, like this particular year, man, we were up 20 points against Morehouse, and we lost at the buzzer. So, and then we didn't win another basketball game from that point forward, and we were leading the division. So, you know, sometimes I'll look at that. I mean, we probably got deflated, and then, you know, did we get tired? Did we get mentally tired, psychologically tired? So, you know, some of those things that I look at, like you say, changing offense, I try to, it's dictated based on the skill set you have. You know, you try to go out and get players that play into your system. You try to evaluate it, but then when you get them in practice and you put them under pressure, you know, you say, damn, this kid can't go right, or this kid can't go left, or this kid, you know, certain things that they do, and you start trying to hide their weaknesses and exploit their strengths. So one thing I don't know if I took it from Coach Thompson, I try to figure out what we do well as the season progresses. And what are we doing well? What are we doing well? What are we doing poor? And try to eliminate what we're doing poor, and then try to focus on what we're doing well. So each season is a different beast. You know, even though you got players coming back, it's a different beast. I think the fact that we won the national championship in '84, it was still a different beast in '85. And you got to try to coach a team different, because you might say, hey, well, we're going to be successful because we got people coming back. But a lot of times contentment and complacency gets caught up in that picture. So, you know, I just try to chase it. Go ahead.
What you talk about the complacency, I've heard that for the guys that were coming back, that y'all didn't get your rings.
No, it was the NCAA rule that they were above the price. I mean, that was my understanding. Like if it was $100, let's hypothetically say it was $100, the NCAA put on caps as far as giving gifts or rings, and we went out and got $200 rings. So you couldn't get them until you had exhausted your eligibility. I mean, Gene got his, right? Yeah, Gene and Fred got theirs.
So was the value of it not a motivational thing?
Nah, I don't. I mean, that's what I understood it to be. You know, sometimes you get complacent. Like I got sophomore, I got like 4 freshmen that I think is pretty good. So they've been through the program, and they're gonna assume that they know what's going on, and that, hey, I got this, coach. So you know, that's why they say a sophomore is a wise fool. Think he knows everything but don't know shit. So you got to coach them differently and try to you got basically like to try to challenge these kids differently, to be better, to get outside your comfort zone, to work. You know, if you have to tear them down, you have to tear them down, but just like Mark, build them back up. But then at the same time, you know, I think one thing with Coach Thompson, he used to tear you down, but I think it was something good about him where he could kind of, I don't know if I want to use the word manipulate your ass to get you to do something. Cause like, I don't know, he was like one day in practice, he's like, damn son, you got good footwork. You look like you can play defense pretty good. And I was like, so I bought into that shit.
What's your average in high school, Horace? 25, 30?
25. So I mean, our coach taught, I knew the defensive principles because our coach taught those principles, and he had a signed department of defense. So I mean, I guess I had some basic skill set, but you know, I tell my players, you know, talking about playing, how I play and how I coach. I mean, I tell them about Georgetown. I get pissed off at them because I say, man, I had to fight like tooth and nail just to get my ass off the damn bench. I had to buy into this man's defensive system in order to get off the damn bench. And then, you know,
Chill, what he's talking about is he had a motherfucker like me get minutes. He's like, I'm better than this motherfucker.
No, I ain't said that. I ain't said that. Said, I bring you and Patrick up. I say, man, if I had me Patrick and Gene, I'll bust all 5 of y'all.
Right
I got
now,
one,
today.
I got one protecting the basket. I got one guarding the ball, and I got one still off the ball still. So Gene dogging somebody, so you just sit off the ball, and the dude want to get off the ball quick. So you say thank you very much. And if they beat Gene, there's Pat beating it against the glass.
What I want to transition into real quick is both of you have experienced losing seasons. And how do you get out of it? I mean, Horace, you touched on it a little bit when you lost to Morehouse, you were up by 20. But how do you stay in it? How do you get out of it? Do you get complacent with losing? Like, Till, those first 2 years for you were brutal.
No, this is my second year.
Second year, okay. Second year.
My first year, we went to the Final Four last year.
Okay.
We didn't fare well in the conference, but we was able to make it to the States and got to the Final Four.
So what turned around and,
Well, obviously we got one piece, and I thought because we were young too, came back with a little bit more experience, but I believe one piece to the puzzle, last year in the Final Four, my big T, she picked up her 4th foul late in the 3rd quarter. So I took her, this is Coach Thompson. So I took her out of the game. And I said, get ready because you're not going to be over here long. And it was a nip and tuck game, 2 4-point game, back and forth. We're swinging back and forth. So I said, get ready, you're not going to be over here long. She said, well, I don't know, I got to go back in because they're not passing the ball. I said, shut the hell up and get it off the boards. So I said, you know what? Don't worry about it. So as soon as I said that, our other big fouls out. We only had 7 players. 2 on the bench, and she's one of them. So I sat back in my seat and looked up in the sky, and I was like, wait to see what the coach was going to do. Because I can influence the decision, but I was going to see what she was going to say. So she picked the other girl, which I want her to do. And we ended up losing that Final Four game by 4. And ended at the end of the 3rd quarter, she had 16 and 15. And it was a rebound here, a loose ball there, but I had to teach her a life lesson. Because I'd rather lose a game than teach you a life lesson than win a game or teach you nothing. That's just my philosophy. And she came back this year, a total different person. She had 30, 31, 20 games, 20 and 20 games. I mean, she dominated the boys. And she was just a totally different person. She was like my favorite, grown up. So the girls know I'm not playing. You can mess around me if you want to. I will teach you a lesson. I had to tell my other big this year, she's a little mouthy. She was new. She transferred in. She was a dancer. She's talented. She got a chance to be a big time player. But she always got an excuse about something, even when you're watching films. And we had a team meeting one day, and we were standing around the circle, and I told her in front of the other kids, I said, I'm gonna tell you before you get yourself into trouble. And I brought up the tea situation. And I said, I will sit your ass down so quick, they got to find a search party for you to teach you a lesson. I would rather lose. And she got quiet, didn't say nothing else. Championship game, she had 17 rebounds. I mean, those are the kind of lessons that, I try to teach these kids because it's about the real world. It's not about this game. It's about teaching them something that the real world is going to throw at them every single day. And I can't wait for these exit interviews. I mean, I know I'm jumping the gun a little bit because these exit interviews, I do mine a little different. I don't know how people do this. My exit interviews, and you don't do them at college level, but I have the parents there with the kid. And on this form, I tell them, what do they believe that they need to work on? And we are right on there after they do their little stuff, we know they need to work on. Then we have their parents sign it, whoever their trainer sign it, and they sign it. Because if you come back next year and you don't work on the things that you told me you work on, I don't want your mama and your daddy coming here. Mama, you signed this. Let's go to the tape and look at it. I mean, this is what I do, seriously. We going to the tape. Don't come to me saying nothing. If you want to take her out of here, cool. But she didn't work on her game this summer. You signed it, her trainer signed it, and she signed it. And she came back here the same player, you got a problem.
So I'm curious, Mark, because you hear about the exit interviews on a professional level. Like, is this something that happens in high school ball a lot now?
What?
I've never heard of exit interviews on a high school level. Is that something that happens a lot, or is that just
That's something I implemented.
Okay.
I try to bring so much professionalism to I'm preparing these girls, not only for college, but even if they get the opportunity to play the next level. I'm preparing these girls now. Like we do scout reports. My scout report is about 6 pages. We do a lot of film work. I mean, they never knew what the scout report was. They talk to their friends on other teams. They say, yeah, we played such a team. We had a scout report and she didn't do this. They're like, scout report, what's that? So, and now they're looking for the scout. Coach, what is scout report? I thought it was due today. I got you, it's coming, it's coming in email, it's coming. So they look for that kind of stuff. They look for them to chop up tape. See, this is what I told Horace the other night. I talked to Horace the other day. I said, I take my hat off to people who coach. It's so time consuming. And I'm doing it for free, really. But coaches who getting paid, it's the same thing. I take my hat off. You got to deal with 12 to 15 different personalities. I'm sure Horace has to deal with administration. If we're not dealing with administration, we're dealing with parents. So it's a lot of work, but I try to bring a lot of professionalism to these kids because I'm preparing them, not only for the real world, but for the next level and teaching them. And it's a lot of teaching, Mark. I mean, these kids, for me this year and last year, really was the first year, but it's so much teaching. Like I said, I had great coaching coming up. I mean, these kids can't make a basic chest pass, a bounce pass, can't get the ball into the post. I mean, you name it, they can't do it. By the time the end of the season came around, we started perfecting it a little bit better. Not as where I wanted, but it was better for us to win it. So that's kind of where I am. So no, it's not. I'm not saying other schools don't do exit interviews. I don't know. But I know for my exit interviews, I got the parents involved and their trainers involved. Because, everybody got a trainer there.
Yeah, that's another thing.
Yeah,
totally
so,
different.
Horace, I want to, first of all, I want to congratulate you on Coach of the Year this year in the SIAC. Congratulations, bro. Not his first one. I mean, in the MEAC, he was Coach of the Year in 1999, 2000, 2012. So, I mean, again, he's been at Savannah State 18 seasons, yo. That's mind blowing. What I wanted to ask you though, and Teal touched on it. I touched on it in my question. You've won Coach of the Year in losing seasons, or where you were like 500. Like, how? Why? What does that? What did you take more pride in that? Was that just because they slept on your team? Like, explain that to me, like, because that to me is incredible.
I mean, that's just some of the guys that the coaches really vote for that. The respect. I didn't necessarily thought I should have won it the first year that they gave it to. I think my first year at Cooking, we lost so many fucking games, it was unbelievable. But I would always walk off the court and the coach said, damn, man, y'all guys played fucking hard. So most of the guys that we played against hated coming to our home court to play. And so we turned, I think we won 11 more games the following year than we won the previous year. So, and it was just based on, playing hard, guarding people, chasing people, trapping people, just playing relentless. So I didn't think I should have won it that year, to be honest with you. But that was just a credit to the guys who felt that our team was playing hard. So, like, again, we talked about earlier, man, if guys ain't gonna bring energy, it's pretty much useless. Like Mark was saying about the girl getting 20 rebounds. 20 rebounds don't fall in your hand. You got to go get them balls. You got to go search them down. So, I mean, she probably have some type of energy about herself. So, we lost a lot of close games. I mean, we didn't have skilled players. I'm a believer, man. If we play hard and we play defense, we could be in a lot of games. And, if we had a couple of skilled players on that particular team, we probably could have won a few more games. So, if a kid ain't going to play hard, man, You know, I mean, I feel in this conference that I'm in, if we just play hard and play defense, we'll be in every game, and I think we are. But if we get a few more skilled players, then you know, we could kind of dominate to a certain degree. So,
And I echo that with
Yeah,
Horace.
I like that least common denominator that keeps coming out: energy and playing hard. Because out of the four of us, I I know I watch the Hoyas the most because I got two coaches, I got a referee and an actor, so and I got a 3-year-old, so I know I'm watching the Hoyas more than all of you. And the thing, I don't get caught up in the skills and this, that, and the other, and the X's and O's. I'm looking at who is playing hard. Like who is playing like, yo, there's somebody coming behind me that's gonna take my minutes.
mm-hmm.
Because if there's one character trait of my 4 years at Georgetown was this message that was pretty consistent. Oh, you can't do it? Oh, I got somebody coming behind you that's gonna do it. Right? So
I want to say that so bad. I swear, I want to say that to one of my players so bad, but I'm holding it in. I'm just waiting for them to get in the door first. But I'm holding.
And I haven't gotten that sense, and maybe the portal has something to do with it, Horace. Maybe that's because kids know I can go someplace else. But we all know that grass ain't always greener.
No.
But again, it's messaging, like, and that for me was the toughest thing about watching our current day Hoyas, because contrary to what people think, like I'm not trying to live in the past or bring up the past or or celebrate the past. I'm trying to celebrate individuals who created what Georgetown is all about. And I always let our guests know we've gone over an hour, guys, and I can talk to you dudes all day, and I do enough in my offline. But I just want to let you know we're over an hour. I appreciate your time. It is Sunday. I know you're with your families. I know you got things going on, but again, I just want to let you know that. Mark, anything you want to follow up? Because I do have a couple more joints to jump into.
Well, I'm just curious for both of them. It may be easier for Horace because he's been at it longer. The best and worst coaching moments they had.
I mean, just taking over at Bethune-Cookman College our first year was, I guess it wasn't bad, but it was a building year, man. We couldn't win games, and everything.
That's in Daytona Beach, right?
Yeah, Daytona Beach. I used to tell stories, man. I use all my timeouts, during the warm up before the game started because that's a hell no time. Man, we played hard, man. But like you say, man, some of them guys shouldn't have played basketball. We were playing Morgan State in Moore Gymnasium at Daytona Beach, Bethune-Cookman College. Morgan State was shooting the free throw, so obviously we were inside boxing out. I had a guy who boxed out on the free throw line. Morgan State mixed it. All right, dude got the rebound and he shot fake. So the guy closest to him, then, man, I ain't blocking that shit. He shot fake and scored. He put it back in the wrong goddamn basket.
Wow.
So the guy closest to him get them 2 points. And our gym is small. It was small. It's probably about 1,200. It's an old school. It's packed. Our own fans ran out of the gym laughing so damn hard because they knew what time it was. He did. Wow. He shot fake. They were so off the chain. I had to call a timeout just to, to calm them down.
Wow.
But now that year, it definitely humbles you as a basketball coach, but it fires you up to say, hey, I need to go out here and get something else. I don't know if Coach Thompson, did y'all recall Coach Thompson always using the term next? I don't know if did he use next? move on to
They
next.
use that with us.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
for some odd reason, I always use it as a coach. Anytime something happens, I always say, if it's good, bad, what's next?
Yeah, I just
So,
say next play though. Yeah, I do.
I just try to after seasons like that, after the game, Morehouse, we try to do a debriefing, a autopsy, and move on. And I say, let the dead bury the dead. You don't want to hang around dead shit because it smells and it rots. So we try to get what we could get from it and just move on. And so the following season, we was pretty good.
So that was your worst. What's your best?
Oh man, I would think the first time we won a MEAC championship, because we got into the MEAC. We was independent for 6 years. So 2011, 2012, that was our first year into the MEAC. So I had kind of positioned myself to like redshirt kids, knowing that we were going to get in the league. And I redshirted a couple of kids. And I said, well, hey, we'll take our lumps the first year, and then we'll get the feel of the MEAC. But we came through it, and we went 14-2 in a conference and won the conference outright. We just pretty much dominated everybody because everybody didn't know what to expect from us, and we pretty much dominated the conference. We weren't able to win the tournament, but we went to the NIT, played Tennessee, and gave them a run for their money. So that was probably one of the better years. I mean, last year we won the postseason, which that came out of nowhere. So I don't know. I still trying to figure that one out. So I know the 2011, 2012 year, I was strategically trying to get ready for the MEAC. So that kind of paid dividends earlier than I thought.
Yeah.
For me, man, well, it's only been 2 years for me. So I could just say I have never been used to getting my ass kicked, ever. I mean, that was like, what is this? This is new to me. What is that? We got handed to us a couple of times last year, a few times this year, but a couple of times last year, I was like, I didn't know what to do. I think that's just to get somebody's foot in your behind so many times, it's just crazy. But obviously this year, the best was, us winning it all. No one expected us to do it. To do it on the stage with my daughter. And there's a little story behind it. I think Gene might know the story. My jersey number was 20 in high school and college. And when she came to high school, she said that I'm gonna wear 21. Like, okay. She said, you don't want to know why? No. She said, because I'm gonna one up you. So she went up me. I lost in the city state championship my senior year, about to buzz it. Here she is, she wins it. So she made second team all conference. I didn't see that coming. But she definitely went up me with the championship. I still got to say a little something like, I went on that bench. I don't know.
Well, so but, I'm curious.
And she got MVP.
And she got MVP.
I'm glad you mentioned your daughter, because I was gonna ask you, what has it been like for you bridging coach and dad?
It's been pretty easy because I'm older. I've seen a lot, and I'm really hard on her. I mean, I might holler her name every 5 seconds of the 32 minutes because I expect a lot from her because her IQ was so high. And I could see sometimes where we had an incident this year. We played this team in Severn, Maryland. They weren't really that good. We should have handled them, but the scouting report came out. They read the scouting report, and I try to be brutally honest in these scouting reports. And sometimes when these kids, and they're kids, they still learning. They look at the scouting report and they look at film. Oh, they don't look like us. Oh, they ain't all that good. They take it for granted. Okay. And the particular girl that my daughter was checking, I said, hey, she took a lot of shots. She didn't make any, but if she's taking all these shots, that means she can shoot the basketball. And she started handing it to my daughter. I was hammering my daughter, hammering her. So what I normally do is when I see a player going through something with me being assistant coach. So when we call timeout, the other team call timeout, I go out to the floor first and meet them before they get to the bench. But I stop them when I want to talk to because I don't want the bench to hear what I'm saying. Sometimes it might be colorful. Sometimes it might be chill. And this was going to be a little bit both because I see she was so frustrated. And I was saying, are you going to play defense today? I mean, I was giving it, I was screaming all this stuff. And so I was going to go out to the half court and she tried to walk through me. And I stopped my hand. She pushed my hand back. I said, oh, what you doing? She did it again. I looked back, the coach said, she's done for the day. And that was a moment between me and her. But what I knew not to do, I never bring the stuff home. I always left everything on the floor. She wanted to talk about it when we got home, we talk about it. But I left everything on the court. Even when it's practice or games, I leave it at the gym. I never bring it home. And I think that was the biggest difference. And she already knew how I was anyway. But I think that was the biggest difference for me is to never bring it home. And that made our relationship just to stay, you know, I'm always dad. And it's funny, I kind of seen Coach Thompson that way at home because I didn't see that other side of him at the gym at home.
Right.
So that was a lesson learned for me saying, hey, you can't bring this stuff home. Now, you know, Ronnie lived on campus. You know, he didn't play as much, but I'm sure.
Boy, you crazy.
He didn't bring it home.
Crazy.
I mean, he didn't.
You're crazy.
I mean, he didn't. I'm not shooting a shot. I'm just saying, you know, if he was a player that played, you know, big minutes, heavy minutes, his story might have been totally different at home dealing with pops.
Right. Or
if he went home, even though he was on campus. So I'm just drawing a parallel between, you know, someone like Ava. I couldn't really take her out the game. I mean, she pretty much had to play 32 minutes, and we played 32 games this year. She probably played 32 minutes 30 times this season.
Wow.
Horace, thanks, Till, for showing that parallel. Horace, did you have did you have a player try to walk through you similar to what Till just described? Or a confrontational moment with a player where caught you off guard, or you know what I mean? Like, I'd love to hear how you dealt with it. Because I always see Horace as this chilled from South Florida, but again, the Hulk. So unless you bring that Hulk out, okay.
I mean, one thing I learned about Coach Thompson, I'm gonna control that practice. You know, I'm gonna control that game. You know, mm-hmm. I don't know if he used to say this. Hey, gentlemen, the door is not locked from the inside going out. It's locked from the outside coming in. So I say, y'all, you can leave any goddamn time you want to. It's not locked from the inside going out. So I think this year, man, I probably lost 25 pounds, man. And which is good and bad, because I like to demonstrate on the basketball court. And I used to could manhandle a few people, and my big, they were wearing my ass out this year. Man. Damn, what happened? I said, damn, them 25 pounds. Because I mean, hey, if you know, I'll go out and demonstrate just like a you know, a quick play. If I had to demonstrate for 2 minutes, I'm dead. But posting up, you know, if one of them got out of line, I say, let me demonstrate a little bit, and you know, I'll check them that way, and they understand. They say, well, shit, coach pretty strong. So, but no, I mean, if a dude like if I probably would have been just like Mark. I mean, hey man, you done. You know, I didn't threw players out of games. You know, like a joker couldn't get a ball. I said, man, you couldn't get that ball? No, coach, I can't get that ball. I mean, get your ass in the locker room. Yeah. And then we'll come back at halftime. He said, no. I said, well, stay your ass in the locker room.
So. Boy, that's cold-blooded.
No, but think about it though. If you give a child a string, they're gonna turn it into a rope. So you know, coaches always say this ain't no diplomacy. This is a dictatorship.
Yeah,
that's real.
Oh no, Mark. This I said
when democracy breaks down, the dictator takes over.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. When the democracy breaks down, the dictator takes over.
Yeah.
My final question for
Now, I'm
you.
gonna ask you one question, Gene. What was the worst basketball game that we played? We got beat as a teammate together during my time.
Worst?
Yeah, the worst.
All of them. Like, I mean,
No, I'm saying we lost one that it was pretty bad.
which one? Like,
Alabama. We lost to Alabama by
Oh, that's the
20
Ennis
points.
Watley in them, right?
Ennis Watley, yeah.
Oh, he gives me the blues about that.
how many
Who
did you
did?
lose by, Horace?
I think we lost by 20. But
Yeah.
that's when Coach Thompson's mother got burned. He had to go home. And then Craig and Riley, I think that was their first year. They had to coach the game. And I think you used to joke about that Pat throwing jump hooks from the top of the key. And then Coach, everybody was out of character, you know. Gene taking over, thinking he an offensive genius. You know, everybody was out of character.
You know what? This is why I would love to get.
See, but I used to laugh at, and Mark probably remember a lot of stuff because we used to laugh at stuff, and because we went to Coach Thompson's mother's funeral, right?
Mhm.
So I'm thinking, hey, we got the day off. This is cool. We get back to campus. Hey, gentlemen, be on the floor in 10 minutes. So this man, we just buried your mother, and we gonna practice. And we couldn't do nothing right in the practice. Turnover. That's all I heard on the radio. He listening on the radio. Turnover. Pat, you doing jump hooks from the top of the key? I said, this dude is crazy, man.
I gotta try to find that film.
Yeah, Ennis Watley killed us. I mean, he was.
Is Watley a DC guy?
No,
he's from Alabama.
Alabama.
Okay.
He lives in DC though.
And then Bobby
okay.
Lee Hurt. Bobby
Lee Hurt. That's who I remember. Bobby Lee Hurt.
6'9".
Like a runaway slave, man.
Yeah.
Woo!
So I thought that scout report story you were telling with your kids was gonna go a different route, because I remember when we played UTEP, and I think it was UTEP, it's NCAA tournament game, and you went off on Coach
Xavier.
because you said
Xavier game.
Xavier.
Xavier
You
game.
told me the motherfucker couldn't shoot.
Yeah, I was hot as fish grease, boy. I was madder than a motherfucker, man.
So the question I want to end with, fellas, because you both were captains while you were at Georgetown, and it's always been interesting to me, like a lot of people's definition of captain or their view of captain. So I wanted to know what you thought about captain as a player, and then what you think about, and that same definition, what you think about captains as a coach. So, because it's always been interesting to me, because most people during my era, most people thought the captain was usually a dude who didn't play a lot, that was sorry, and it was just a coach's pet. Very, very seldom was the best player the best communicator. Like that normally didn't translate sometimes. So I just wanted to get your two take on that. And Mark, feel free to chime in as well, because you always sat at the front of the bench, so you saw a lot going on as well.
You're asking that from a coach's perspective?
But a coach and a player, both.
Well, I'm just speaking a little bit from the coach's perspective. I don't have.
Because were you always captain of your crews coming up playing ball? Were you always captain?
I eventually would end up being a captain, yeah. But
same with you, Horace?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't captain at Georgetown. I was captain at high school.
I thought 86 you were captain. You and Ralph.
I don't know who was. I think
Horace, I think you were. I think you guys had co-captain.
I think Michael and Ralph was captain.
You might be right.
I just look at captains, I'm a little different now. I like the true definition of a captain. Who flying them planes? Who conducting them trains? That's kind of how I look at it. So now you're talking about a basketball team. To me, it should be the same. Just because you're a senior don't mean you should be a captain.
Right.
That's just how I look at it. But we want to give them something. So
meaning you want to give the seniors something.
Give them something. They might not even. I mean, you got seniors who don't even play. They're the captains.
Right.
What? Think about it.
Yeah, to me, it's
It's a participation trophy, right? It's a participation award, right? I mean,
Everybody get a
and
trophy.
see, that was my view of it to some degree when I was a player. But as I got older, and again, I haven't been, I'm not in those locker rooms like you guys are. I
Yeah.
always thought it was someone who had the pulse of the team, like someone that could, to your point, the conductor, he wasn't flying it, but he knew how to get everything to work. He knew where all the levers were, to pull or to initiate.
Yeah.
So it was like DJ, MC. I always get confused which does work, which does which. But it's like who can move the crowd, who can move the team.
and to this, them let Horace close it out. Reggie was a man of few words, and he was the best player I've ever played with. And what he did with us as freshmen and sophomores, with a man of few words, but his few words was very colorful.
Mm-hmm.
And he meant what he said because he was a winner. So you look at that and you're like, and you saying he touched everything. Everything we needed, he got. It was a bucket, it was a rebound, it was a loose ball, it was a tip. He got it. And that dude really exemplified for me, if I had opened my dictionary, of a captain.
I mean, I guess sometimes you just emulate everybody else and say you got to name a captain.
Right.
I mean, if I had to, in all my years, I may have 4 captains that I definitely felt good about having captains. I mean, in some years I don't even name captains. I want to just see who go like doing before the warm up. See who walk up there. Guys want to be captains, but they don't want to be no damn leaders. They don't want to say how the pulse of the team. They don't want to, hey man, we're gonna shut this shit down tonight. We ain't going out, we ain't partying, And I had like a couple of guys who had a lot of influence over teams, like the 2 guys I had this year. Everybody respected the hell out of them. And one of them was saying something to a freshman in practice. And the freshman, man, why don't you shut the hell up? I did that. One of them blew the whistles like, and I let the freshman have it. I said, you gonna talk to my captain. That's the captain that I chose. That's my captain.
Oh, the freshman told the captain to shut the hell up?
Yeah, because I think we were scrimmaging, going up and down, and I was telling him, hey, let's get the ball from one side to the other. So the freshman, he drove the motherfucker and shot it. And the captain told, hey man, didn't you hear what coach said, man? Let's get the ball to the other side. And well, that was the story I got after the fight. But all I heard was the guy was turn to my captain and say, won't you shut the fuck up? So I blasted his ass pretty good. And I got in him real good. I probably took about 10, 15 minutes on him. And but like what you said, Mark, the next day, man, I brought him to the side in front of everybody, and I apologized, saying, "Hey, man, I probably shouldn't have went off on you the way I did. The message was good. I mean, the message was good, but how I delivered the message was kind of poor. And I said, if one day you are a captain, or if I choose you to be a captain, you will get that same respect from me, and I'll make sure that people are in line. We need, leadership. So, I mean, some years I don't have captains. I have guys that stick up there, and then when shit go bad, I say, where are my captains at? And then they don't want to step up. Because a lot of times if I have good captains, I could put them on the line. I could challenge them. I could call them in and say, hey, listen, man, if shit's starting to go wrong, I'm gonna cut your head. And they understand that. But then when I have guys who think they are captains, they be the first one to lead, run.
So what happened when you didn't choose a captain that year and the officials say, okay, captains come up to center court? Who was a player just walked out there?
Mm-hmm. It was like
so that means that the other players would say, okay, Horace, you go out there. If you was a player, they called the captain, you go, Horace. So it was like it was a team who kind of voted that person to go be the spokesman for the team.
No, I didn't ask him. I could guarantee it was just the arrogance of the dudes. That's like, yeah, I'm the captain.
Okay.
So I mean, it's been like two or 3 years out, and sometimes I don't do it because I know I want to see who's going to step up. I kind of know who's going to step up, and then I start putting pressure on their ass.
Right. I got you.
So we all know.
I put pressure on their ass to lead.
Yeah.
Right.
We all know Big John named the captains.
Oh yeah,
there were years, Horace, early on where he didn't have captains.
Oh really?
He didn't have captains. He would name them the day of the game. So he would have, and it be rotating. And sometimes it would just be nobody out there. You know. So
it's funny what you said about the participation, Till, because as a ref, doing middle school games, a lot of times I'll hear the coach say, well, who hasn't been a captain yet this year? When I call for the captains. And I'm like, wow, they just giving everybody the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
No, a good captain, man. He controls the team. Like you said, Reggie. I mean, Reggie could do it all, you know.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
I had a couple of guys that I love, man. They really had the pulse of the team. They organized the team. Shit, when I come to practice, sometimes I'll come to practice late. My assistant coach might not be there. Shit, they run in practice. Because they know the drills. I mean, they at least get a stretch, get us warmed up, get us through the drills. So and then sometimes I have motherfuckers walk in the gym and they just bullshit.
Right.
You know. So
all right, well, fellas, like I said, we can do this shit all day. I appreciate your time. You're both captains in my book. Like I said, you guys have been on multiple times. I promise I won't ask you back anymore. Because it's like you only know two motherfuckers.
That's Gene promise. It's not mine.
but man, I thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. And you guys are obviously more than just Hoyas to me. And continued success in the coaching ranks. And just thank you for your time on this Sunday. Markham, you can.
I appreciate you for inviting me, Gene. Shit,
absolutely.
Because after a season like this, sometimes I'll be like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna do this no more. So sometimes just chatting it up with people that you know about basketball, sometimes they kind of recharge your batteries and give you a different focus. So I definitely will give you a call and see if we can set up something with that branding stuff.
Consider it done. It's done.
Hey, Horace, Gene is a great guy to talk with about NIL and defense. Don't talk to him about offense. You fuck around and get fired yourself.
Hey man, I don't know why you didn't remember that jump shot, Gene. I can see myself. I can see myself standing. I think I was standing on the right side of the floor near.
He know where he was standing, Till.
The trophy case. The trophy case was on the far left hand side. I mean, hey, I think you was 3 inches further than Steph Curry's longest three, man. What Coach Thompson says, what the fuck?
We're not doing this.
No, sir.
That's fine.
Oh, man.
If I could ad lib a little bit, Gene probably say, hey, Coach, man, I was wide open. Know what he gonna say, motherfucker, I know why you was wide open.
You open for a reason.
Ooh.
Oh, I tell you.
Hey, Gene, I don't know how many times I told that story to different people, man. Like, that's got to be one of my all-time favorites.
But before we leave, Till, can you give us an all-time favorite Coach Thompson story just for giggles? Just for giggles, please. I hate to put you on the spot.
My favorite one is we fell down the steps. And, I come out the locker room. Coach, I said, your shoes untied. But if I'm gonna worry about my shoes, you get on there and work on your game. That's what you need to be working about. I say, walk down the steps. So you know the basket that's right there by the steps. Right. I just heard something. and I just saw him say, oh, and I looked at him.
Was that your sophomore year?
Yeah, I think it was my sophomore year. I ran down the other end. and I laughed so hard. He came down there and cussed my ass out. Called me all kind of names, laughing hyenas. He called me everything. But that was probably that was like my funniest. That was like the funniest all time Coach joint did.
Hey, Horace, every time you tell me that story, I crack up.
Hey, that's funny that we could still laugh, man.
Yeah. Some people can't laugh.
Oh, I try to laugh all the time.
Yeah, that's all I do. That's all I do.
Ooh, thank you, fellas. Thank you.
I'm gonna give us two quotes to wrap it up. One is from Horace Harris. You can't have what you want until you want what you have. And this is a quote from a book of quotes from dads. Failure is success if we learn from it.
Sure.
That's from Malcolm Forbes. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, gentlemen.
Fabulous.
We be in touch. Horace, I'm gonna be keeping up with you, my brother.
All right, man. I've got to get my battery recharged, man. I had made a decision.
Yes, sir. Yes,
You
sir.
gonna be there, Coach D. You gonna be there.
All right, fellas. Y'all
All right,
be
I'll talk to you soon.
All right, appreciate y'all guys, man.
Hoyas.